Hello, hello, hello. Today I'm going to talk about multiplying and dividing rational numbers. So let's focus first on the word rational. Rational are the numbers that we think of as being fractions usually. So fractions, things like 1/2, 3/8. The rational numbers also include decimals, things like 0.25, but you know that 0.25 is a fraction, which it would be 1/4. Mixed numbers include an integer component and also a fractional component. So a mixed number would be something like 3 1/2. And remember, to take a mixed number and to convert it into an improper fraction, I would multiply the outside guy by this 2, so that would be 3 times 2, and then I add it to the top. So this would be 6 plus 1, which would be 7 halves. 7 halves is the same thing as 3 1/2. Now here are the two ideas that we need to know. To multiply fractions, we're just going to go straight across with it. Multiply fractions straight across. So here's an example. If I had 3/5 times 2/7. 3/5 times 2/7. I'm going to multiply the top two numbers straight across. So 3 times 2 is going to give me 6, and 5 times 7 would give me 35. Dividing fractions, I'm going to use the phrase flip and multiply, and I'll explain what that means. If I have 3/8 divided by 2/5, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into a multiplication problem by flipping the second fraction. So I'll flip this one. And what I have now is 3/8 times 5 halves. And now it's just a simple multiplication problem. So 3 times 5 is 15. 8 times 2 is 16. Now, that flip and multiply, other teachers call it something else. What was it? I don't recall, but I've heard other things. And it's a little game. But I want you to understand kind of why it works, or at least let me prove to you that it does work. So let's come down. I'm going to come down to this corner. This is me proving it. Are you happy that 8 divided by 2 is 4? Is 8 divided by 2 4? Yes? Okay, good. I've convinced you of that. Let's write both of these as fractions. Let's write this as 8 over 1 divided by 2 over 1. I've turned them both into fractions. Well, using my rule of flip and multiply, I would take the second fraction and flip it. Remember, I haven't done anything to this. This is the same problem. It's still 8 divided by 2. So I have 8 over 1 times 1 over 2. And what does that become? That becomes 8 over 2, which is a division problem, which is 4. So it really does work. But in my head, I just think about flip and multiply. All right, so let's do some problems here. Here we go. We're going to divide. Here's our first one. We're going to divide what? Negative 1/4 divided by negative 2/5. So I'm going to take that second one and flip it. That's going to give me negative 1 over 4 times 5 over negative 2. These are both negatives. A negative times a negative is going to be a positive. This is going to give me 5 over 8. Notice that the signs, I'm keeping track of the signs in my head. Negative, negative. It's going to be a positive when we multiply that. Let's go on to some other ones. Four divided by 4 and 12/13. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convert both of these into fractions, and I'll make this guy into an improper fraction. So I need to go 4 times 13 plus 12. Let's see what that is. 4 times 13 plus 12. 4 times 13 plus 12. So that's 64/13. So I have 4 over 1 divided by 64/13. I will take that second fraction and flip it. So I have 4 over 1 times 13 over 64, which will give me, what's that, 52/64. But that can be reduced. 52 over 64, that can absolutely be reduced down. What goes into both those numbers? Well, they're both even, so I'm going to do what I call half-halving it. I'll half the top and I'll half the bottom. I'll cut both the top and the bottom in half. So half of 52 is 26. Half of 64 is 32. Let's do that again. Half it again. That's going to be 13, 15, 16. There we go. Let's do another one. I have negative 4 divided by negative 5 and 5/7. Well, let's take negative 5 and 5/7, and we'll convert that into an improper fraction. So this is going to be 5 times 7 plus 5. That's 40/7. So I have negative 4 over 1 divided by negative 40/7. I'm going to take the second fraction and flip it over. I have 4 over 1 times 7 over 40. Actually, these are both negatives, aren't they? A negative times a negative will be a positive, so I know my answer is positive. This is going to be 28 over 40. It can be reduced down. They're both even, so let's half it. That's going to give me 14 over 20. Let's half it again. That's going to give me 7 over 10. And our final one. I have a mixed number here that's a negative. I'm going to multiply it and turn it into an improper fraction. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. This is 3 over 2. Negative times 1/6, which will give me negative 3 over 12. And that can reduce. What can go into the top and the bottom? A 3. 3 goes into 3, so I'll divide this by 3. Divide that by 3. That's going to give me negative 1 over 4. All right. I know fractions can be difficult at times, but you're going to need to be able to do them. And remember, you used to love fractions. Remember when you were a little kid, someone asked you, how old are you? You weren't just 4, you were 4.5. You were all about the fractions then, but now you get up into middle school and you're like, fractions, I hate fractions. Okay. All right. I'll see you in class. Bye.